Loyal to the foil, but don't believe anything she says. Do your own research for yourself. Don't let other people think for you.
What is up, friends? Yes, definitely don't listen to anything I have to say. I never know what the hell I'm talking about, but I am glad that you are here in the confusion with me. Welcome to Cognitive Dissonance, the channel where we clearly try to investigate the insanity surrounding us. I have some help with that today. Thank God. Last minute, drug him in here, kicking and screaming. I got my dude, your dude, Belushi. What is up?
What up, fam?
Right?
Yeah, I had to put a shirt on actually. So
Man,
thanks
I
for
know
having me.
the struggle is real, sir. The struggle is
Yes,
real, right?
that Tuesday struggle is real.
Yeah, dudes always look the same though. Y'all just can pull on a hat and throw on a shirt and it's like boom, ready to go. I gotta actually like comb my hair and like whatever.
God forbid I'd have to do all that
Man,
regimen. I mean, good lord,
combing and
what an exercise, huh?
right, just total mess, total mess. What is up, PJ's Weary? Oh, thank you, Shanjo, for the can. Much love, much love. Thank you for the gold pill love early on. Karen Hare, hello. Jazz Bar, Woke One, Weaponized Truth. We are all mad. Indeed, indeed. Red Pill 66, Hank 10. Good to see ya. What up,
Norm.
right? What is up, frightening me, Ashley J, FZ06, Jimmy Riggin? Yeah, dude, the weed brownies are gone. You ate them all the last show. I don't know what to tell you, man. Let me see if we even got anybody over here on DLive. This was kind of last minute, I know. What up, Dave MC? What up, Nick Houston? Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Um, so yeah, so this is the craziest thing, Belushi. Like literally like, man, like I usually go live. What up, Starstream? At 7 on Tuesdays. I'm like, my dad was in the hospital. He came home today, guys. For those of you, thank you for the prayers and thoughts and stuff. He came home. Um, so I'm like, well, I don't want to leave the peeps hanging. Let me jump on here and talk about something. So I'm going through. I have a subscription to Scribed, and I saved. Listen, this is one of the best places for research. It's like this online library. I mean, books, audio books, documents, right? People drop documents in there all the time. You would be surprised at what you can find. So I save shit all the time. Like, I got to go back and read this. I got to go back and read this. Well, I had saved something a while ago about DARPA's investigation into paranormal phenomena. And it was crazy because I'm sitting here reading it over or whatever, just kind of scrolling through. Like, I think I'm just going to go live and talk about this. Alara messages me and she's like, go to Woke Societies right now. He's talking about the alien leak docs, right? And I click over and he's literally talking about a similar document, something different, similar. But I swear to God, it's like brainwaves travel travel in this community. And
Happens all the time.
man, it's like we pick up on the same, even if it's something totally random from like however long ago, it's like we pick up on the same stuff, or there's some thread there that is just pulling us all together, I swear. Uh, what up, T. Roy Cooks? Dodie Danny. Hey, Alara. Good to see you. Yeah, I tried to drag her on here too. She's like, I'm working on presentations, foil. I
Well,
gotta
you're
get this
welcome,
done.
Alara. I'm substitute teaching today.
Right, right.
She's like, "Can you go live?" I'm like, "You mean in 40 minutes?" She's like,
Yeah,
"Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah."
yep.
So I'm very prepared for this, by the way,
Oh
guys.
yeah, me too. Not at all, right? But I mean, come on, this is stuff we talk about all the time, Belushi. Like it's wild because like when we talk about conspiracy stuff, like we talk about a lot of like this is kind of an OG conspiracy theory, right? I'm a fan of OG conspiracy theories, right? The whole CIA class of Project Stargate, the remote viewing and stuff, the programs that they were running, this all ties in. And it's funny because thank you, Ohio Kimmy, for the cookie. Right before we jumped on, I was thinking, like, man, I've read about this, and my grandmother at Christmas of 1996 gave me this book, which was, they apparently they only ended the Stargate project in like 95, right? Then they declassed everything or whatever. This book came out in 96, and it's he was a member of that team. And I guess, I don't know, you remember the men who stared at goats?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that crazy ass movie?
What were
Yeah,
they?
but
What were the goats staring? What were they doing with those goats?
trying to kill the goats, I think, right? They were trying to make their little goat hearts explode or something, right?
Something.
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I remember thinking the movie was kind of funny, but also kind of sad because I knew it was based on some true shit, and I'm like, man, if that's
Some weird goat
right,
stuff going on
right,
there.
like, well, I mean, they have a heart attack gun. Like,
Right.
we've talked like Tyler and I playing conspiracy theory trivia. Like they have literal heart attack guns that they've developed and everything else. So,
Yeah, I
you
heard
know,
they've gotten way advanced now, and they can beam you from like a satellite and hit you with that thing now.
dude, like I say this is OG conspiracy theory, but it might be new G conspiracy theory too. Like, I mean, they don't really do, when do they stop doing these things?
Mm-hmm.
Like
No,
they
well, they've been
just,
doing the remote stuff for a while. I mean, that's like it's literally like a skill set that's developed and worked on over time and trained into some of these remote viewers. I can't remember who it was, but there was two remote viewers. They both worked for the government, and they were given like a test project. I think it's back in the mid 90s, and they are basically tasked with a bunch of clues, right? They weren't given the subject matter or what they were necessarily supposed to remote view or look at. And so they got a series of like cryptic emails or messages and little clues. And they both, I think in different parts of the country, maybe even different parts of the planet, basically both came up with this same spot in Antarctica that they were supposed to find. It was just like this underwater cavern or crevice or something, and they both remote found the same exact spot. It was wild. That was my first sort of inkling into
yeah,
how powerful the remote viewing can be, and what some of these guys are able to do with the super soldiers and the crazy stuff that goes on, where they say that they can have their consciousness enter super soldier bodies, and they can remote pilot them and remote pilot ships and all sorts of fun stuff. So
man,
let's get woo.
because there's something there, there's something there. Yeah, thank you FZO6 and who else? Filter Dog, Karen Hare, and Amy Jo. God loves you. Good to see you. Hi.
What up, Diddy Style? How you doing,
What
bud?
up, Diddy? Yeah, I see Diddy jumped in. Always good to see you. Yes, yes. We're doing a little Tuesday Woo Day here. So yeah, so all right, it might take a second for this to pop up on your screen, but so I had saved this a while ago. This was before DARPA was the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. This was when they were just the Advanced Research Projects Agency, right? So in January of 1973, they had produced this briefing, that was eventually declassified on their exploration of paranormal phenomena. Has it? Are you able to see it yet? I got to figure out how to share screen with you. I don't know if.
Are you on Zoom? We're in Zoom, right?
Yeah.
You can share. Yeah, I see it. It's a little delay. I just pulled up Foxhole, but you can absolutely
Let
just go
me.
to that little green screen share thing. Hopefully, your toaster doesn't
That's ain't
explode.
that the ain't that the problem? Let's just try this way. Look, we're not raisins yet or nothing, dude. Like, let's just hold on here. So they had put together, and if you can see, this was at least in part subsidized by the Rand Corporation, because those guys always have their hands in some shit, right? Now, I had somebody come on Twitter that had worked for Rand Corp that was trying to give me some, and I couldn't verify it, and this was right when I started podcasting. So I was like, I don't know if I want to drag this all on here, but I mean, telling me about underground, like projects in the tunnels they had out under LA, right? And it just happened to be when Elon was out there doing his thing and how he may have, like, got some information from the Rand Court before he did all, what, just Rand has their hands in all the cookie jars. Aw, thanks, Diddy. And Sean Joe, you guys are great. So yeah, so you guys can see, obviously they had their freaking hands in this cookie jar as well. But so if we just, one of the interesting things, and like I said, guys, I may even drop the link in a little bit and let some other folks call in if they have something they want to say about this. But one of the things is if like, there have been several mentions of the U.S. and Russia, back in the day, the Soviet Union, that have either had similar interests where they were keeping eyes on each other's resource, or where they out and out agreed to work together. As a matter of fact, on Space Force News on Sunday, in the disclosure section, I had sent Alara this little factoid that I found. Apparently, Mikhail Gorbachev had agreed with Ronald Reagan that if there was ever an alien invasion, that the U.S. and Russia would definitely work together, like no questions asked. So I mean, I at this time, I think a lot of the information that they pulled were from efforts made by spying. We know that they were remote viewing on Soviet Soviet installations and assets and stuff for the longest, but they put a lot of effort into kind of going into what the Soviets were doing, and they break a lot of that down too. You can see in like even in the contents, they talk about the differences between the Soviet and U.S. research, what they're doing, their areas of investigation, and I'll scroll through all this. And before I even do that, this was in 73. If you guys, what Scott was talking about on his show, and this is what I thought was freaking crazy. Um, so apparently, Alien Leaks, the website, what Ron had done, right? That is him, right? Ron Watkins that did Alien Leaks. I swear it's him. Um, he had posted something from 76 in there on parapsychics, and I might scroll through that too, if we have time. But it touches on the development of the programs that they had. Thanks, Red Pill. Thanks, Share Within. Um, so of course they start out like just trying to classify what paranormal phenomena is, right? Is this something that's been verified? Do they, what they came to understand, and they was that these are things that they couldn't verify with the science of the time. Although I think things have drastically changed at this point with our understanding of quantum mechanics.
So is their definition that the phenomenon or the paranormal is uncategorizable or unexplained, and that's their explanation of it?
It's unexplainable and it violates physical laws. Okay, they give us this
according to their science.
Yeah, right. And this was in 73. Like I said, they didn't really have a grip at all on quantum physics or quantum mechanics. In any sense of the word. Think about it, Belushi. Like we know, Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, entanglement. That if you entangle two particles, and this is the whole basis for quantum computing now, right? This is how they want to transmit information this way. You entangle two particles, right? What you do to one, regardless of the distance, is going to affect the other one. So, are we not all made at our most base level of quanta?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are
our brain is a quantum computer.
Man,
that's the next race. That's the next race. Everyone's trying to be sort of first either to market or implement their quantum systems into all different sorts of verticals within the corporate and business communities, and the way that things are going to be run moving forward, especially looking at the finance stuff. It's very interesting. But Google has one already. I think the Pentagon has one too.
I think there are a couple of what they're calling quantum computers that are in existence now. Is the wave considered? I know that I had seen a few videos. They were talking about like opening Pandora's box. I mean, you can't once you implement this system, like that's it. Like I truly think that once they get this down, and I just saw the other day, matter of fact, I was going to bring it up on Space Force News this week. China has been able to use what they quantum teleportation of information. They're able to use this entanglement now a much greater distance than we've been able to achieve, at least published or acknowledged, right? I saw an article on it like 2 days ago. But I think once they get this shit implemented, they probably will have the power and resources necessary to make general intelligence AI, like true AI.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming
well, what's the name of that AI bot? Amy? Was it Korea or somebody? And then the Saudis ended up getting a hold of it, and it's like it basically started building upon its own consciousness, and it wanted to become a human being, and it like knew it was an AI robot, and it's like really scary shit around like that.
Poor Mr. Data.
Well, didn't they make it a citizen? They like made it a citizen.
Sophia.
Sophia, that's who it was.
About, yeah. See, now I hadn't heard that.
Scary shit.
Listen, she spoke at the UN. She gave an address to the UN. She takes questions, goes on talk shows and shit. Yeah, they gave her Saudi Arabia She's their first AI citizen. I think it's interesting. Her name is
That should
Sophia.
scare the living crap out of everyone.
Yeah, buddy. Right?
It's not good, guys.
Right? Thanks, Blonde BLQ, for the shades. So you can see, like, normal science is verifiable. It doesn't violate physical laws. There were things at the time that we've now verified, right? Antimatter, gravity waves, like we can see this now, but at the time that was unverified. But still said it didn't violate physical laws. Things like quasars appeared to violate physical laws, but they were verified occurrences. Now, paranormal phenomenon was what they put in the category where they said it's unverified, but it appears to violate physical laws. They had no understanding, right? Um, so you know, people didn't really want to. Scientists of the day didn't really want to touch it, but of course, our government was all over it. I mean, come on now, if you can, you know, spy into people's shit and read minds and attack people, because believe me, there's a whole section on the military implications of this research. Um, so like right here, it says in this briefing, our major concern with paranormal phenomena that meet two criteria: they have potential military applications in the foreseeable future, and this is something that can be experimented and investigated. So of course they jumped right on it, right? Um, what they were primarily looking at was telepathy, clairvoyance, and precognition, right? Um, I can't help but think of like Minority Report.
Well, absolutely. Well, if you even think about how they even recruit these people, they do it. They start looking for these types of, and this goes into a whole, rabbit hole of like DNA collection. And if you're out there giving your DNA to 23andMe, you need a little lesson.
Oh, that's owned by Wojcicki's sister. Susan
Mhm.
Wojcicki's sister
Mhm.
owns 23andMe.
But like the way, I mean, they had other tactics back in the day, but basically what they would do is recruit these kids like right out of, high school, college, or even younger. They sort of get identified, and they have a series of tests that they do. And then once they identify them, they find a way to get them into their, black op programs, and they basically groom these people and turn them into weapons. Remote viewers, super soldiers, all sorts of things.
Yeah, well, all the
have that clairvoyant ability, and that sort of they have those natural abilities, and then they cultivate it, they weaponize it.
Well, one thing that a lot of the secret space program whistleblowers say is that they were located as children, right? Given test examinations, they determined their psychic ability or empathic abilities or whatever, and then they were taken into the MyLab programs, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they play long games, long games. But imagine what they had in 73. They probably did have some inkling of what or starting to scratch the surface on quantum, and because they had computers back in what, the 30s?
Well, not like what I mean, like the computer that sent the rocket to the moon, I mean, took up rooms, you know what I mean? And
right.
I mean, they were I don't know
But they
about
had
the
stuff
30s,
that the public
but
didn't know about. But they
yeah.
had stuff the public didn't know about way back before the first computer sort of came
Oh yeah,
out.
before we had, I mean, especially before any kind of like commercialized desktop stuff. I mean, their computers, with old school transistors and just old school took, I mean, they were huge. They took up entire rooms. They had the computing capacity of a toaster. So
Now it
nobody
fits.
knows this, but that's really what I run this podcast on, is one of the, like, from 1957, old school NASA.
Get rid of those smart appliances. Get that smart toaster out of your house. It's watching you and listening to you all the time.
Did you see the thing about them going in and altering thermostats in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I was just listening to somebody talk about that. Can't say I didn't tell you.
Bruh.
I told you so.
It's worse than that. The refrigerators, they know what you put in there. And if you think for a minute that they won't, when they get this whole shit connected, that what you put in your refrigerator is not going to be reported to your insurance company or to your employer. I mean, it's like, I did a whole video on this.
Think about that. Yeah. Oh, we can't give you this level policy of health insurance
Yeah,
because you eat crappy food.
Yeah, you bought fried chicken 20 times last. Like, you ain't getting nothing, right? Like, we can see in your fridge. We know.
I mean, are people that just lazy and inept that they need Alexa to order their Amazon groceries to their smart fridge and they
Bruh.
can't think about what they need? I mean, it's like,
One of
come
my
on.
best friends told me, well, it lets me know when there's
If
no more
there's a
milk.
food shortage, everyone is screwed.
Oh, listen, right?
Nobody knows how to grow food.
Right.
I shouldn't say nobody, but
Her,
most of it.
my friend bought all these.
Pretty much on the DoorDash.
Oh God. Yeah, you're done. Your DoorDash orders are
Yeah,
public info at this point, right? You're
How
screwed.
we're gonna eat DoorDash? DoorDash can't deliver food. How are we gonna eat?
Right. What up, Mr. C? Good to see you. Thanks, woke one. Yeah. So my friend's refrigerator will tell her when the milk is out. Her dishwasher will tell her when the cycle is done. I'm like, you can walk downstairs and look. Like,
It
for
tells her on
what?
her smartwatch or something, like your laundry's done.
It's hooked to her. Yeah, it all hooks to her phone, hooks to her
man.
computer. She's got a fridge with the little smart screen on it and stuff that her son used to get into her to change her Wi-Fi passwords.
What?
Listen.
Yeah, I know that. I think they're easily hacked. Those smart devices.
Oh, it's a mess.
Appliances.
I'm like, y'all are crazy. Like, I'm sorry. I can walk and look and see if I need milk, man. My refrigerator don't need to tell me nothing. Like, what are you talking about? But it's crazy. And I know I saw it. Let me see. You said about them locating. They say that in here. Hold on. Let me see. So let me just go through this in order so I don't get all cluster-fooked. So they list the possible military applications, right? Long and short distance information transfer. They say for a variety of reasons, including apparent violations of some basic principles of communications theory, the probability of long distance telepathic communication being confirmed as a real phenomenon appears rather low. However, these considerations may not apply with equal force to the possibility of short range information transfer by telepathic means, right? Which baffles me, because if you can whatever process it is that you're transmitting information short range, why would distance matter? I mean, especially if we're talking about on a quantum level. Like, I don't understand that.
Good question.
But they talk about
maybe there's boundaries that we don't know about.
I mean, I don't know. Remote viewing. I mean, they're, like you said, they're literally looking at shit in Antarctica that they were confirming. They were cross confirming with other people. I don't know. I think maybe this was when they first started looking at it, and maybe they thought there was some degradation of the information as it, over distance or something. Like, that's not how quantum mechanics really works like that. You don't, when we're talking about entanglement, like, that's the whole principle of using quantum computing the way that they do, is because the information, the distance doesn't matter. Of course they didn't know that then. But they were talking about not just long and short distance information transfer, controlling equipment with the mind, which they actually have a variety of platforms and methods for doing that now. I've talked about it before. The helmets that can read your synaptic patterns, that can two-way information processing that way. They're talking about system damage, man-machine interaction, body controlling, and healing. Like, they get into that where they acknowledge.
Yeah, I was going to say they have suits where it just takes care of everything, including doing your business. I mean, it's all taken care of. It all gives you everything you need, and other atmospheres you can be in. And yeah, the remote controlled craft with the remote viewing and the super soldier stuff is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy, right? It's crazy.
They're literally saying their consciousness can enter into other beings, and it can literally be like remote controlled, like in like a battle on the moon, perhaps, or in Mars.
Man, right? They even say here, like, they could see application for, what they call autogenic phenomena, voluntary control of the autonomic nervous system, what they call faith healing, using faith healing to heal battlefield injuries, right? And they say there is some evidence that certain individuals can accelerate organic healing processes through psychosomatic effects, that we can control our body, that they had evidence for this when they wrote this report. But they'll tell you all day that that's shenanigans. We absolutely have control over own physical system, at least, if not the ability to project that to others. In my opinion, in any case.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Absolutely. The body can absolutely self heal. We just don't really know how to unlock those parts.
yeah,
We don't have the
well,
information.
if they knew this then, I'm sure that they found probably every method possible to stifle that
Mm-hmm. No, they hide all the good stuff.
in human beings.
Mhm.
I don't, and they also say that this may help with resisting brainwashing and torture also, which is interesting.
That is
Where
interesting.
where'd it go? Is it loading? There it is. Um, Now this is interesting because they said, man, I wish I knew somewhere up here they were
Is
taught.
this, did this get declassed recently, or is this an old doc
No,
that you found on the archives?
I've
Okay.
had this saved for, well, I don't know.
Hmm.
I've had this saved for probably a year and a half. I just, I see weird shit and I'm like, yeah, I got to read that, got to read that, got to read
Hmm.
that. I've
Hmm.
had this for a while. I don't know. Um no, I think this was when, well, I know with the Stargate program, that was closed in 95 and declassed shortly after. That's why that guy released that book like 2 years later. But I don't. This one I think has been out for a while. Okay, Filter Dog, have a good night. Thank you. Um, but they had mentioned somewhere about how they should be looking for these people and ways to find these people. Damn, I wish I knew where I saw that.
Now, are you alluding to the recruitment process, or
Yes,
okay?
yes, because you were talking about how they seek them out or whatever, and they
Mhm.
they said that in here.
Yeah, they identify them at a very early age, and they have various ways of doing it. And then they sort of once they pop up on the radar, then they take them through a series of tests, and then they sort of vet them and then groom them, and yeah, they turn them into weapons, basically.
Yeah, I don't
Black
doubt
ops
it.
government programs.
Oh shit, where is it at? Man, I wish I remember where I had saw that. I tried to read this over real quick before we jumped on here, but
Yeah, it's not an easy read. I started glance through it, but when you sent it before, and I was like, oh, there's a lot in here. Okay,
right. Well, I
are we going
sent
live in
you
5 minutes,
right.
or is that something else?
I know I'm terrible, right? Well, I mean, Belushi, we talk about this shit every day anyway,
No, no, yeah, I'm cozy in my foxhole bunker.
right? Cozy, cozy, cozy AF. Um, but I think it's weird because they point out here like differences between Soviet and U.S. research. They say that the Soviets, their experimental subjects were especially selected and or trained, whereas in the United States, the subjects are not normally screened. We know that's not true.
I mean, here's a simple example to like put it into like real life terms for people. Even that this is real life, obviously. Is it? Am I in a simulation? Am I inside the
I think we
computer?
might be in the Matrix,
Okay.
dude. I'm not sure.
um, just think about how like the Chinese, the Germans, the Russians, how they train for their Olympic athletes. They're like selected at like almost like right out of the womb, and like, all right, she's going to be a gymnast, and then they like train their entire lives, and they're like, that's their whole focus, is their whole life is being in the Olympics for gymnastics.
Yeah, well,
Just think about that simple concept, and then how much further the government would take that kind of shit.
yeah. If I mean that's like this is your only purpose, right? Like that's what they tell. Like that's it. That's all
That's what
you
they
get
tell
to.
you in China.
Yeah,
Is, yeah,
right.
no, you will do
Yeah,
you will be what's the one with the ribbon, the floor, or whatever. You will be a
man.
ribbon. You will be a ribbon spinner.
Right? Like
This is your
I
this is your
don't like
destiny to
ribbons,
spin the
right?
ribbon.
That's it. That's
The
all you
ribbon.
get. Man, it's a mess. But I mean, like for them to say that we aren't screening our subjects, like come on now. Now we know better than
Hold
that.
on, I got a
I
flat
see.
tire.
I see.
My son was helping me podcast the other night, and he did a nice little number on these. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to order a new pair soon.
Let me
Okay.
while you're doing that, let me scroll back and see if I missed anybody to say thank you to. Blonde BLQ, thank you. Woke one, I saw. I'm gonna make sure I don't. And I will. You know what? Probably halfway through, I'm gonna release the scratching and do the lemons just in case. Although I don't think we look like raisins today. I'm not really watching the stream. I think we're doing good,
They
right?
look like raisins.
Yeah, California raisins, right? I have that stopgap animation thing that happens sometimes. It's a freaking
Oh,
mess,
right, right, right.
right? Stream just cuts out randomly.
Hmm.
It's my NASA
Yeah, I think
toaster,
last time
right?
last time we did this, I think
We
We were
had
going pretty hard, and then
2
we
parts, right?
yeah, and then we ran into a brick wall. Oh, I'm just a hot mess, guys. Don't worry about it.
No worries, no worries.
I
Um,
should have found the duct tape.
duct tape fixes everything, dude.
It really does. It's
Honest to
miracle
God,
tape.
right? They say the U.S. we had little attempt to link theory to experiments. We were just beginning to track Soviet research. Let's see. Oh, the Soviets were interested in technology for detection and or enhancement of these abilities. But we had some. Now they admit we had some comparable technology available. What up, dude? Due
My
diligence
brother
in the
Floyd.
house.
How
Yep.
you doing, buddy?
Just walked in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Uh, yeah, we have some comparable technology available. Like, come on now. Um, the Soviets were doing interdisciplinary research involving natural sciences. We weren't really doing all that. Like I don't know. I feel like they're trying to make it look like we were just jumping on the bandwagon with this in 1973. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
Right?
I just think that I don't know. We're better at hiding it. I don't know.
Yeah, I find it so hard to trust anything they tell us. Anything, even when they declass stuff, I'm like, no, y'all are lying. Like, come on now,
What do
that
you think
can't
we're gonna
be
get
right.
at the end of the month?
With the UFO, man, listen, they're gonna say we don't know. It ain't
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. No, well, they
Could
already
be
sort of got
Russia.
ahead of
Could be
that. They were
China.
like, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
we did see something and we just
yeah.
don't know what it is. Well, okay, no shit.
The
Isn't that the
only
whole classification of UFO?
bro, the only thing I know for sure that they'll say is we need money. Like that's it. Like we need money. Right? That's always what they come with.
Or it's an imminent threat and it's
Oh yeah, we're all gonna
another
die.
vehicle for lockdown or it's distraction
Yeah,
against the
yeah,
audit and all that. Yeah, well,
yeah.
who knows? Because
Well, even
it's coming out right around the time that Trump's doing a rally in Ohio, and I think the paper portion of the audit will be finished on the 26th. This is what they say. I think they're supposed to drop that on the 29th or something. The timing's interesting to me.
dun dun dun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, even at that, even if they say it's an imminent threat, then it's going to be we're all going to die. So you don't need your money. So we definitely need your money. Hurry up. It'll be something. They just
No,
want
it's a multi-pronged attack at this point, right? Like they're going after all the infrastructure, they're attacking all these smart grids. The weather's all freaking all over the place. I mean, they're going after everything they can, which means to me they're sort of out of moves, right? They're all in at this point, and they're
man.
not going to stop until they're stopped. There's not just going to be
Yeah.
like, all right, we're out of moves now, and yeah, you guys are right, we cheated, and there's aliens, and yeah, we're just going to go away quietly now. No,
Yeah, that's not how that works. You rock it till the wheels fall off. Like, what do you mean? It's like complete ruckus fest.
You send them out to the work camps on Mars. It's hopefully what's going to
Hey,
happen.
I'm all about the moon prisons, right? I've
Yeah,
been saying that for a minute.
absolutely.
Like, we need moon prisons, and I got a whole list of folks we can send right there, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Pilled by the Rabbit, for the cookie. Much love, much love. Yeah, I'm all for the moon prisons. So they start to talk about the subjects, right? And apparently, they say from the beginning, Soviet researchers concentrated on experimental subjects that appear to display outstanding abilities. It was clear that the Russians also believed that the subjects could be trained for certain skills, notably telepathy and psychokinesis. And that they had filmed performances of two of their outstanding psychokinetic subjects that were circulating in the U.S. at that time. So I mean, have you seen the video of I don't know if he was a monk, the dude that could light paper on fire in his hand with his mind. He was some sort of qigong master, and
Mm-hmm.
people would go there to get healed. This
Mm-hmm.
dude could do the most amazing shit by controlling his
Well,
mind.
he can manipulate heat, right?
Yes,
with his hands, and he can do all sorts of stuff like electricity too. I think. Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
caught paper
He
on
like
fire. Like,
yeah,
he'd concentrate his chi and
Mm-hmm. It's insane.
get it all amped up.
Those are the kind of guys that can lower their heart rate. They can levitate, and things like that.
Man,
Yeah, it's crazy.
they said about the monks in the Himalayas, they would send them out there with wet towels in the snow, and they would have to dry the towels with the heat from their body. They'd have to raise their body temperature to dry the towels, and they'd be out there just snug as a bug in a rug, man, in the snow. Fine.
I met a monk in I don't know if I think he had traveled from Tibet, And they do this sort of prayer walk where they like stand up and they do a praise, and then they go down to their knees, and then they lay down, and then they sort of stand up and they go like 1 foot at a time. He did that all the way to Nepal, and I saw him at this temple, and somebody was telling me about that. I'm like, what is this guy doing? They're like, oh, he's been doing this like prayer walk like all the way from Tibet. Literally, I don't know how many months or years he'd been traveling like that. It's like a foot at a time, doing like this, like just the insane amount of
Can you
complete
imagine?
discipline and control over consciousness.
Yes. And that's another thing. We have no, like, man, as far as mental discipline goes, like, they've given us all these distractions. We've
Mhm.
literally got the attention span of a freaking goldfish now, man.
Mhm.
Like, it's like
Or a
squirrel.
gnat.
Yeah,
Whatever.
gnat would be bad. Goldfish actually, apparently goldfish actually have a memory. That was just a turn of
Really?
phrase there. Oh
So
yes.
it's not the 30 seconds and then they forget where they are.
No,
Oh, Nemo lied to us.
They did.
Damn you, Ellen.
They did. I didn't know that either, but I say it all the time. Attention span of a goldfish, and then I realized, that's not even true. Okay, so, but yeah, like we have no, man. As far as self mastery and like mental control goes, they have done everything humanly possible to make us just, the best little sheep.
The best little slaves we can be.
Yeah.
Low Country Brooklyn says they are called prostrations. Prostrations. Yeah, that sounds right.
Where are we at? Where is she at? In
Refuge in the
DLive?
3 Jewels. Yeah. She's in Foxhole. She was talking about that monk that I came across, what it's called, what that prayer walk is, what it's about.
Oh, prostrations.
Prostrations, yeah.
The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Yeah, I can't even imagine, man. I can't even imagine.
With like wood clogged sandals on, like they did not look comfortable.
Right. You gotta at least give me some.
Dude, how many miles you been doing this for?
shoes.
Holy cow!
Yeah, he probably didn't even feel any of it.
He probably didn't even see me. He was probably vibrating in like 7 universes at the same time.
Yeah, man. He was watching some whole nother other stuff. Like he was not worried about his immediate surroundings, clearly. But yeah, so apparently, the Soviets thought these people could be trained, which I think we can all be trained, right? I mean, but you got to be awake for that, right? Thanks, Mr. C. I was thirsty. I appreciate the can, sir. You got to be awake for that. Like sheep, how are you gonna train sheep? Right? How are you gonna train sheep for that? Oh, he gave you a can too, Belushi, in case you were thirsty.
Oh, well, thank you. I was almost done with this one. I appreciate that.
Right. Now, see, and they be contradicting themselves. They say it should be noted, though, that when an apparently outstanding subject does appear in the United States, he often undergoes intensive investigation in almost every case. On the other hand, the results of the attempts to train subjects in the U.S. are uniformly negative. So they were looking for people. Even though they say they aren't looking for people. Like, that's crazy. Y'all were looking for people.
Well, don't they wipe their real backstory and they create, that's like the Jason Bourne thing where they like,
You would think.
They create like a compartmentalized off switch where they can like, take that person out of the field or whatever they need to do. And they don't, they have a Bourne identity.
Well, that's a lot of the secret space program. People say that they compartmentalize or they.
Well, it's a part form of mind control. That's the weaponization piece,
It's great.
That's why I want to get it. Does it have any meat on how they start to like actually use these assets in the field, or is it just a theory of the? Yeah. I don't want to jump ahead, but
no. I don't know. I didn't get, like I said, I found this maybe 20 minutes before I messaged, like an hour and a half ago. I started looking at this stuff. Like, I should bring this out today.
It's good. Yeah.
Let me see. Well, I guess we'll find out, right? And then they go on to say some researchers are exploring Russian technology. They say, judging from communications by the Soviets, it's clear that nothing especially technologically advanced in the Soviet devices. They're using whatever technology they had available at the time. They weren't using any special shit, basically. And apparently the Soviet investigators had to have training in the hard sciences, physics, biophysics, engineering, to function in these interdisciplinary teams, whereas the majority of U.S. workers were trained in psychology, or in a few cases, the medical science. I bet Russia got farther than we did. If this is true,
Definitely. They were definitely kicking our ass during the space race too.
man,
They just,
they got
that was
Sputnik
just
up there
optics
with
for
a
the cold
quickness.
world. Cold world. It is a cold world.
It
The
was a
Cold War.
cold world, right? Right. But I mean, come on now. At least they approached it from a, hard science. Like that's what you want. Like with what we've come to understand is this is quantum physics. Like,
Hmm.
so that's good. Oh, apparently the best known American parapsychologist was trained as a botanist, so maybe that helped. I mean, we know plants can communicate, so
They most definitely can.
maybe
And they
let's
definitely have feelings.
don't they?
Hmm.
Don't they?
Be nice to your plants, people. Talk to
Right?
them, sing to them.
They
Give them a little,
man,
give them a little stem rub. They like that.
I saw something about they can there are I don't not pheromones per se, but some sort of organic material that they expel to communicate with other plants, like if they're afraid, of something, if the or when the weather goes to change, like they can communicate through this I don't know, biological molecule that they release to the other plants.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
like
and like forests, like trees will take care of each other. Like all their root systems. It's like I don't know what's that movie, Avatar, where they and there's some experiments done around this where they've introduced like a trace element of something or a chemical that you could track and they could pick it up way down on the other side in the same tree line.
I bet.
If one tree's not doing well, some of the other trees will send it nutrients, and if it needs extra things, like if they're storing water and it's not getting enough water, I mean, it's a whole interconnected system.
Like a brain.
Mm-hmm. Completely.
Like a brain. That's crazy.
So it fascinates me. Yeah.
Oh, I guess maybe they do get into some of that stuff down here.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. They talk about bioenergetics, which they say they'll describe in more detail. Let me.
Thumper Rose says, my brother worked in Russia for 8 years on the U.S. Russian space program. Yeah, maybe if we're opening calls, we should have Thumper Rose come tell us
Yeah,
about
I
that.
will. I will. If you are you, is there anybody out there that wants to call in? I might drop the link if you guys are interested. Um. Oh,
Low
this
Country
is
Brooklyn says, peep the link, read intro bio, Russell Targ,
Russell
CIA.
Targ. I'm familiar with that name.
Yeah, Stanford Research Program.
I'm familiar with that name. Yeah, they were, man. The Ivy Leagues had their hands in this too, for sure. Oh, this is interesting. They say during the 60s, a Czech investigator, Milan Reisel, maybe, conducted a series of well-publicized double-blind clairvoyance experiments with an outstanding subject in Prague. Then he defected to the West in 67. I bet he was helping. They say
Defected, eh?
yeah, defected. We got,
Or like recruited.
right? Defectors. Um, are this, let me see. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me go ahead and let me get the link and stick it in the chat in case somebody wants to call in and has something they want to add to this convo. Whoops, not that one. Work with me, guys.
You usually go an hour or 2 hours.
I don't really ever have a plan, Belushi.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't,
You just
you don't
kind of.
know this, right?
Well, I don't know. We crashed into a wall last time. It wasn't anyone's fault, but the toasters.
Right. Toasters.
Damn
Man,
toasters.
I know. I hate them. All right, hold on.
Yeah, if you guys got some cool shit around this kind of subject matter, call in and drop some knowledge on us.
Yeah, feel free. 'Cause this is old school stuff. Like a lot of the stuff we talk about is newer stuff, but like I said, I like this OG
Back to our roots.
shit once in a while, right? There's a reason we think this way, right? Like everything is a conspiracy theory, but if you pull the declassified docs, like what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
There's no theory in these conspiracies. Like you guys were doing some crazy shit and didn't want anybody to know. Like just own it. Just own it. It's that simple.
Well, they always do. They own it like 50 years later when it's like, oh yeah, that happened. That was like 50 years ago. Yeah, no, imagine what they.
Yeah, what do you think they're doing now? Oh,
do you know how hated they are?
Bruce Banner.
All right, Bruce.
All right.
He's coming into Zoom, you said?
Yeah. Yep. Hold on.
What's up, Bruce?
Hey guys.
Hey. You got some...
I got in the first caller.
Yeah. Look at you winning, right?
I was mad scrambling trying to plug in my headset. And...
No worries. You got some crazy paranormal research, DARPA related telekinesis, psychic stuff you want to tell us?
No. Actually, the only reason I was calling is about the trees communicating. I was just talking to the Canadian Patriot about that last night. It's something that it's been a long time since I've read it, but yeah, trees, they communicate underground through the network of, I guess,
The root
fungus?
system. Yeah.
Fungus.
Yeah, fungus in the root system. Yeah, absolutely.
And apparently the speed at which they communicate is incredibly fast. Like it's almost
they know if there's a sick tree not doing well. They know all what all their homies are up to.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is this was going back now. I'm gonna say 11 or 12 years, and I was on summer vacation in the Okanagan in BC, and hanging out with some friends. And
beautiful area.
Yeah, and this guy comes over, their buddy, and I just was mentioning this crazy thing that I just read about trees communicating. He goes, "Yeah, dude, that's the course I'm studying that right now." He's in university in the Okanagan, and he's you see, yeah, trees can talk miles and miles and miles away, and it's incredibly fast. Like, I don't know if it's light speed, but it's pretty mind-boggling. So they'll warn, like you said, they can say, "Oh, there's a insect infestation coming, or maybe a forest fire, or bad weather." Who knows what they say? I don't think they've deciphered the language, but I find that very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably something that they innately, I mean, the trees obviously innately understand, but I'm sure that they have found a way to decipher at least some of the more primal or basic reactions that
I would think, yeah.
I wonder if it's an unaudible tone or vibration of some sort.
Well, it's chemical in nature.
Yeah.
It's chemical in nature, I believe, because it's through the I believe it's through like the network of fungus and bacteria in the ground. But for it to travel that quickly, it's really amazing. It makes me think of the whole entanglement theory, because you would think, well, that'd be slow, or maybe it's some kind of electrical charge through those systems or networks. I don't know.
So you're telling us you don't speak fluent tree? Okay. I don't know how we're gonna get to the bottom of this, Bruce, if you can't bring sauce on the tree language.
We gotta get the Lord of the Rings producers on here,
right?
They got the Ents figured out. So
I'm a fan of the Ents, right?
Yeah, I like them too.
This is crazy. So they're talking here about highly successful experiments that were done. They said that there were unverified reports by both Western visitors and in private conversation by Soviet scientists of additional telepathic type experiments conducted aboard a submarine, right, and between twins. Then they've got a footnote here. It says the alleged submarine experiments entailed separating from their mother a freshly born litter of rabbits. Now we're talking about animals, right? Freshly born litter of rabbits, which were then taken to sea aboard a submarine. The mother was then connected to an EEG recorder, and as the infants aboard the submarine were sacrificed, the mother's EEG spiked every time at each death.
Wow.
Like, number one, what a horrible freaking experiment. Number two, what? Wow. Like, I mean, if animals have a connection like that, things we would consider 2D animals, right? How much more in tune must we be capable of?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that every one of us has major abilities that have been dumbed down, programmed down through, probably intentionally, from the same people that are feeding us bullshit.
Literally feeding us.
Well, people
in
are
the food, in the water.
People are taught not to listen to their gut and their brain, or their brain and their gut. It's like,
well, I've always been sort of in my head all the time, and I've always dismissed and discounted my gut feelings about people. And I always, raised in a Christian family, I gotta accept everybody, you gotta love everybody. And I mean, I just got destroyed literally in business from people who I befriended. And my wife is super, super intuitive. She's psychic. And she told me, we got together about 22 years ago now. And I mean, I've just stopped. I stopped arguing with her about her sense about people after about 10 years, because every single time she is 100% accurate. So they might have been my friends for 5 years or 10 years without a problem, but inevitably there's always a great big fucking surprise. Oops, pardon my language.
No worries.
It's
We
and
cuss
it's
over
just
here.
yeah, okay, cool.
He
So
does speak tree.
yes, French. In Canada we call that speaking French. So like when her grandmother died, she knew 3 days before her family phoned and told her. And like I say, highly, highly accurate. So it's real. I've seen it in action. People have it. I have a very strong empathy. I found out I'm very empathetic, or I'm an empath, I guess you could say. And
Right.
in other words, I've realized, okay, my gut is actually very accurate. I just didn't know what that was. I got these odd sensations or feelings about certain people. And now I've found that I've literally diluted my social network incredibly. Like, it's incredibly small now because I don't trust anybody.
No.
But I only trust a very close handful of people. And that's pretty much, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. And as you
Yep.
get older too, you're the people you can count on sort of,
If you have more friends than you have fingers on one hand, you're probably overestimating, like actual friends.
Exactly.
Just move and then call 5 or 10 of your friends that you think are your friends and see if they'll come help you fucking move. Start there.
Right?
That's the first test.
Everyone's busy.
I always
all of a
noticed
sudden.
when I had a truck.
But they'll show up to take your free crap you're giving away. But they don't want to help you move.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wait, you're giving away free shit now? Oh, the move's over? Oh, you got a bunch of stuff I can pick through? Yeah, I'll be right over. Yeah, okay, thanks. Come over.
What up, Hang 10?
Hey.
Good to see you.
You too.
Good to see you.
Talking about remote viewing, huh?
Oh yeah, remote telekinesis, telepathy. It's you guys were mentioning, like, as a child, like, I know most of you guys have probably heard, like, me talk about my house being haunted and being able to see things or whatever. Like, as a kid, I didn't know what the hell was going on, and people would tell me, that's not real, it's not really there. Well, it took me, it was there. Like, it was definitely there, and I saw it. I thought I was nuts for a while.
I saw a ghost in my house one time, and my wife described it to me. And then that's when I first learned about what she had going on. And I was freaked. I just freaked right out. I mean, I had goosebumps on my arm, and like, holy shit, I didn't know you could do this. But I saw a girl out of the peripheral vision of my, out of the side. And it was broad daylight, middle of the day. And I just jumped because I was sitting in the couch, and then I turned and looked, and it was gone. And she said, "What just happened?" I'm like, "Nothing." She goes, "No, you jumped. Did you think you saw something?" I said, "Yeah, I did." She said, "What did you see?" So I said, I thought I saw somebody standing there. She goes, "What do they look like?" And I said, "Well, it looked like a young girl." And she said, "How old?" I said, "I don't know, 10, 12 years old." And she goes, "Yeah." And she said, and she goes to me, "Did she have long, dark hair?" I said, "Yep." She goes, "Yeah, her name is Kat. She's been in here since we bought the house." And I was freaking out. And then
she didn't tell you? Well, that's a whole other conversation.
No, well, and then she said there's also a boy. There's a young boy here as well, and I forget his name. But I like I say, that blew my mind.
I hate to break it to you, but most of the time we're sharing space, and as long as they're not causing any ruckus, like, I'm okay with that. It's the ones that cause ruckus that are the issue.
100%, I agree with you. Well said.
Right. Thank you, Ohio Kimmy, for the cookie. Much love. Thank you to everybody that's donated gold pills. I appreciate you guys.
So my mom's childhood home, one of them, when she was growing up, she said that they had a ghost. They all knew about it. It would knock shit off the shelf all the time. Like, it loved to just freaking knock things off the shelf. It was like a little game it liked to play. It would open cabinets in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So you come into the kitchen, there'd be like cabinets open. She said it happened, like, they eventually moved out of that house, but maybe not because of the ghost. I don't think it was really destructive, but it was kind of a nuisance.
Well, yeah. I mean, they sometimes they just want, just acknowledge me. Like, that's their whole thing. Just acknowledge me. Right? That's all they want.
It's just interesting that, like, some of them can harness enough energetic power to actually break through the realm and, like, actually knock, physical objects in our realm off of shelves and things like that. That's when you start, because if they aren't good, you start to get into a little bit of a dangerous situation, right? Because if they can cross over and actually physically affect.
Oh yeah, listen. Yes, when they're destructively affecting physical matter, there's a problem. Like when my dog got choked, I was like, oh, no. That's why I contacted them people. Like, hey, this is
Wait, your
way
dog
beyond.
got choked? Did you have to do like
Yes.
a? Did you have to
Oh,
like
you
do?
were live when I was going back through that. Man. And then I got orbs on film, the dog chasing. This all
Mm.
happened in one night, and I had emailed my state paranormal society like, hey, this is past my pay grade, man. Like, I can deal with certain shit, but
Yeah, call the Ghostbusters immediately.
literally, right? And they had a thing on their website, right? That like, we're, we've got a lot of requests. We'll be, we'll get back with you. Whatever. They contacted me the next day. They had set up to come out, set up in my house within 2 weeks. I was super grateful. They brought a medium, helped me clear the house, whatever. Like, it was wild. It was wild, dude. I haven't had that problem. Like, there's still shit in my house. Like, I'm cool with that. Like I said, I can share space. It's when it's like that was unacceptable behavior. I'm sorry.
Hey, if the ghost ain't paying rent, I don't know about the sharing space shit.
I don't
You
think we
must
have a choice,
you must
right?
be more.
I want space dollars or ghost dollars or something. I
Right?
need some compensation for this.
You must have
free rent.
you must have a stronger sense than the average person for them to be reaching out to you like that. Because
Man.
that's what it's like for my wife. Because
Yeah, since I was a
she
kid.
has, yeah, she's got lots of them coming to her, and very very seldom, if ever, has she had the physical stuff happen. Except about a month ago, she's still freaking out about it. She says somebody's trying to communicate with her, and she can't figure out who it is. So she's been racking her brain because it's not always really clear. But she had a solid silver chain on with a ring on the chain, and a solid ring with no breaks in it. And then all of a sudden, the ring fell off the chain, and the chain never broke. And she's like, "How the hell did this come off this chain?" And so we're pretty sure we know why.
Right.
Like I say, the chain wasn't unclasped or broken, and the ring it's a solid ring. So whatever happened there, like Belushi was saying, somebody was reaching out and trying to get the attention.
No doubt. Hey, Bruce Banner, better lately gifted a can. She said, "Screen your callers. This Bruce guy is nuts."
Did he say Bruce? I thought he said that about Norm.
I
Right?
put
Yeah, maybe he's probably talking about me, and he's one to talk.
Oh no, the
better
Bruce
lately.
guy's nuts. No, yeah, no.
Uh-huh.
I was putting working on my bio in Gab, and I put on there just as a joke, and I showed Better Lately. I showed him my what I put up. I put the funny one on the Better Lately show, because everybody knows Canadian Patriots, the funny
Right.
guy. So he put out a meme. I put it on my Gab, made me laugh. He's got a newspaper of somebody with my icon, and it says "the funny one." So good on him. He's got my funny bone.
Right. But yeah, I mean, you would, okay, so as far as ghosts go, you would think that whatever it is that allows them to interact, but also allows us to perceive them, is probably the same thing that's responsible for this shit. It's got to be a different function of the same process.
I agree.
I would
I
think.
agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. This is loyal to the like the lizard said in the beginning. Don't listen to me. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Haunting.
I think there's something to be said about getting stuck between planes or realms too. My ex-wife's father had tragically committed suicide, and a year later, she actually died too. And I was traveling in Asia, and I came across this medium from Mexico, and she said, "Who are these people that are following you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "There's two people here with you," and she described them both to a T. And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "What are they saying?" And she's like, that you're doing good, and you like watch over your our kids and all this stuff. And then she's like, "They're stuck." I'm like, "What do you mean they're stuck?" She's like, "They can't pass over. They're in this like what do you call purgatory or what?" And she went through this whole exercise, and like she had me in tears by the end. And she literally was like physically pulling this door, like as she's explaining to me that she's opening the door of the bridge to cross over to the boatman, the ferryman. I don't know.
Right.
And she said that and then after, because I'd been seeing visions of her, like crazy stuff and like dreams. After that, like her energy, I felt was just, it had gone on, and like I haven't seen her since.
Well,
like,
I know sometimes
I used to see her face and stuff, like weird shit, like in the middle of the night and shit. I'd like see her. It's weird.
I know that sometimes people are afraid to leave. be it if they're afraid of judgment, if they're
Hmm.
afraid of the unknown, sometimes they just don't want to
Or they don't
leave.
have the compass, or they don't know how to get there. I mean, there's a
Well,
multitude of things.
as I understand it, or I think most of the time when people die, there is an innate, they almost an innate sense of what to do, but some of them are just afraid to do
And
it.
a lot of them aren't aware that they are dead, that they have died, and they're
That
very confused.
They're confused. Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's a really good movie with Anne Hathaway called Passengers. We've watched it a couple of times, but it gave my wife a lot of clarity because she says that's it. She couldn't figure out why they kept coming and wanting to talk. And I highly recommend watching it. I don't know if it's exactly how it is, but it sure seems to have something to it. And like her grandmother, on one of her grandmothers, when she passed, she was extremely bitter and very, very angry and very frustrated because she didn't believe in a spirit that survived death.
Mm,
She didn't believe that she was dead. But none of the rest of the family would talk back at her. And if you watch that movie Passengers, you'll see it's subtle. My wife figured it out right away because she deals with stuff. But when you watch the movie, you'll see these people are yelling at their family members, and they're just ignoring them. They won't talk to them, and they're frustrated. So then they go look for somebody like maybe you, Loyal, who can hear them, or my wife, who can hear them, and then they latch on to that person because they're the only ones that are talking back to them, because they're the only ones that can actually hear them, because they don't realize where they're at. They're confused.
right.
Excuse me. And so she's actually talked a lot of these people down, so to speak. Once they get the clarity and they're aware, then they tend to just go away and never come back again.
most of the time I won't. And I listen, I had an attachment, and I've talked about this before too. Like, I try not to open any doors. I don't want to acknowledge it. I can't help you. Like, I won't, or I just won't. I won't. I don't know, because I don't trust it either. Like, I know that sometimes these things will appear as something that they're not, and I'm just not. I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not a gambler. I'm not willing to take that risk. And if once you acknowledge something, it seems to make it worse.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want to
no,
play roulette with the darker dimensions. Definitely
Man,
not.
like, I just can't do it. Like, I
So
mean,
I've heard like some theories around, like, depending on the way you go out. If you go out, like if you take yourself out, or you're doing something violent, and it takes you out, or you're vibrating at a a low frequency anger, or fear, or things like that, then as you pass over, the darker entities are trapped into that lower vibrational energy, versus if you're like at peace with yourself, and
that's
that you're
possible.
going back to the creator, that you have a much easier path as you ascend, into the next sort of spiritual, um, I don't know, chapter of your
That's
soul.
entirely possible. Thank you, Deja Vu Q and Brandy with the B,
I'll
for
be
the
right back.
cookie in the can. Okay. Um. Yeah. So this is kind of crazy too, guys. Going back to this thing. So they were talking about different types of technology that they had developed to investigate this paranormal phenomena, and some of the stuff, like the Kirlian photography. Like, this is something I guess I'm familiar with. There was a guy recently that and I don't he hasn't tried to patent this, but he said that he can take pictures of interdimensional beings. Have you seen this? He's got a whole Instagram page
I
with
remember hearing about it. It's been a while.
some of the pictures are wild. I'm scared to even click on anything. Let me see what happens. There's a guy. He's got kind of a social media presence, but yeah. I a few years ago, there were several articles that were published about this guy, and he had taken pictures of some crazy shit, and it looks, I mean, it looks fairly legit. Give it a second if it'll load, guys. I Is this? Oh, I don't know. That name doesn't sound right. Greg Grassi. I don't know. I'm scrolling through to show you some of the pictures. He says that he doesn't see the stuff prior to taking the picture, but then when he takes the picture, it's there. And that's not it.
And it's just a regular camera, or is it a special kind of camera?
Something he developed. I've seen this one before. I know that. I think that's one of his. Man, I wish I knew what that guy's name was.
Right.
Does anybody in the chat know?
I gotta go, Loyal.
Are you okay? Thanks for hanging out, Hank 10.
Yeah.
See you, Norm.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. See ya, Bruce. Tell Belushi I said bye.
I
Sounds
will
good.
do that. I will do that. Man, I wish I knew where this, but he's able to take pictures of these interdimensional beings. But in any case, so apparently they've been developing, they had developed in the 70s a whole bunch of different technologies to do this. One of them, apparently, the Sergiev detector, that detects fields associated with electroencephalographic activity at distances more than 5 meters, which was something they had in the USSR. They apparently didn't have here. The electroaugurogram, they could detect electrical fields produced by the hearts of frogs and human subjects. Like, we know that we have bioenergetic fields. The detectable, now we know that we have detectable bioenergetic fields, but these people were ahead of their time with this. They said, although not explicitly associated with paranormal phenomena, a similar device capable of detecting small magnetic fields produced by various physiological processes has been available for several years in the United States. They talk about the photography, photographic technique, produced by high frequency electrical field. They did something with magnetics here. Condenser system formed by two plates, electrodes covered with a dielectric. The object to be photographed is put between the plates, and they put this high frequency voltage between it, across the plates, and then, it produces these crazy images. But I would think you would be able to, they think that it's related to the biological behavior of the plasma in humans or plants or whatever. Bioenergetic projections, apparently.
They're definitely after our plasma for sure.
Man, right? They talk about Pavlida generator. Let me see.
Well, we knew a girl. She claimed that she could see auras, and it was interesting because I have no way of verifying that she can, but I believe this kind of photography can take pictures of your aura, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, there are places like when I was in Sedona with Alara, they had oral photography, people that would take pictures of your aura for you.
So the funny thing is my wife, she's very quiet and she's very sort of reserved person. This one guy, this older gentleman that used to work with us, really nice man, and he just loved her. And the first time he met her, he just started calling her Sunshine, like a very endearing sort of expression. It's like, hey, Sunshine. And then a couple years later, after he had passed, this girl that we knew, she revealed that she could see auras, and I said, well, what's her aura? She says, oh, she's just this big, bright yellow ball of sunshine. So I found that, I thought that was, yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting because this other guy, I don't think he was into this stuff, but probably just his, his innate, I guess you'd call it his intuition. He just called her Sunshine, and maybe there's nothing to it, but I think there was.
I think there's something to that. I want to know what color I am.
What color your aura is?
I
saw something. Okay,
here's a quick trivia question for the chat. What movie is this? Purple. Your aura is purple. What? Purple. Your aura is purple. Some really good hydroponic pot. Okay.
Right.
Put that out to the chat. Put out the chat. See if you know that movie quote.
What up, Strift to Saul? Is that Starstream, right? Last, right? Hello? Can you hear us?
Is there anybody in there?
Right. Hello.
So that's a pot reference, Belushi, about the purple aura.
Well, it was the purple aura. No, it's not a pot reference. She's reading She's reading the main character's aura, and he's on the phone with his mother. And I guess I'll give another clue. He's traveling with a band in the 70s.
Oh,
great movie.
We'll
give the chat a couple minutes. If you guys can figure it out, I'll give you the answer.
That's Spinal Tap.
Nope.
Oh, sorry. not me. It's not up to me. It's the chat.
No, I mean, whatever. I don't care. I just was like, I had a random thought because we're talking about auras, and I always remember that one scene in that movie is funny. Better lately. Got it.
Where are we at? Oh, The Fifth Element. No?
Nope.
Almost famous. Sorry, I was reading. What up, Tanette? Good to see you.
That's the movie that I was thinking of, but I couldn't think of the title because I've never seen the whole movie. I just caught a piece of it.
Texas Bear 70 says I'm dark green. That's funny you say that because I was thinking about what my color would be, and the first thing that came to my mind was green. That's interesting.
That's the cannabis content.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what it is.
So, listen, right. Don't let there's a current TikTok trend. Listen, I have a confession to make. I have.
Oh my God, is it that you're a TikToker?
I'm considering it. No.
Oh, it's the coming out party. Here
My
we go.
nieces keep sending me TikToks, and some of them are pretty freaking funny. So
there actually is some really talented, like little short video makers on there that make funny shit.
Really, like just hysterical shit sometimes. Like I'd be laughing for hours occasionally. And so there's a TikTok trend for how to see your aura, and it's something about taking. Now I want to go find the damn thing, and I'll have to maybe post it later or something. But taking your phone in a mirror.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah. Hey.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay.
What's going on?
I'll hang out here and be quiet so you can finish your thought.
So there's a thing where you take your take your phone and but it's on camera. You have your camera, you know what I mean, your front facing camera up. You take it into the bathroom mirror or whatever, and you get that infinite reflection, but it'll turn a color, right? And there's examples of this, and they're different colors, orange, blue, whatever. That'll allegedly show you your aura.
Have you done the stare at yourself
TikTok
in the mirror
docs?
thing?
No, that's another. Listen, that's another. Maybe it's because I'm from New Orleans, or I don't mess with mirrors either. I'll use them but I'm not staring into mirrors. I ain't talking into mirrors. I'm not looking for shit in mirrors. I will
you want to see your
face
change shapes?
Man, listen, no, I will even occasionally cover mirrors if I'm feeling some kind of way in my house once in a while, because those things can be doors too. Like I know I sound like a nutter, but I'm telling you, man.
No.
Wasn't there something with these new Apple iPhones in the last year or two where there were some reports of some crazy capabilities with the photography on those phones? People were picking up some very similar to what you're talking about. It's been a while since I've heard the story, but does that ring a bell for you guys?
No.
Say it again. Say it again.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't following.
There were some reports of people that were picking up things that you can't see with the naked eye with their iPhones. This is maybe a year or two ago, some of the newer iPhones.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear anything like that?
Orbs. Yeah, a lot of people talk about seeing orbs with digital cameras and things like that.
Maybe that's what it is.
Well, that's how I filmed the shit in my room that was messing with my dog. Like, I have the video of that. We played it on Conspiracy Couch, on the Halloween edition of Conspiracy Couch. That's what got the people to come out to my house. I couldn't see it. I could feel the shit in my room. I could feel the energy of the shit in my room. I could feel when the energy shifted in my room. I couldn't see it, but the orbs were on the camera.
Did you send that video evidence ahead of time so they sort of knew?
I sent it with my initial email, like, oh my God.
And they were like, okay, this is real. We're on the case.
Oh yeah. They got back to me the next day and then scheduled within I don't know, it was like 2.5 weeks. They were out at my house with the whole setup and whatever.
Did they film what they were doing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went.
What kind of stuff were they doing?
Man, they brought FLIR, they had spirit boxes, they had voice recorders, they had video, all they had shit all over my house.
Were they burning like Palo Santo or sage or anything like that?
Not at first. They came in and it was crazy because the lady come in, the medium lady, and it wasn't a large medium, it was just a medium. She came in and she was immediately like, "Your mother's here," and I was like, "Oh, that one I know." Like, my mother is always around. Like I knew that one. And then she went in. She was like, were you in prison? I was like, man, okay, you're legit. Like, go ahead. I was like, proceed. Right.
I know, I've had some freaky experiences with
now,
mediums
some of those
like
people
that.
they'll research your background.
Guys, we have 10 minutes and this thing's gonna boot me off. I can't spend the money on the Pro yet. I got to get a new toaster.
You can. It's okay. It's okay. Do it. Do it. Do it. You can do it.
Let me. I don't even know if it'll let me do it by clicking this. Hold on.
Yeah. I think it's like $15 a month
Right.
or something.
And now I don't know what the hell. No, I can't do this live because I don't even know what email
No,
I
yeah.
used. Like that's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
all
yeah.
bad.
Well, I mean,
I'm supposed to be Starship. I thought I changed my name. I don't know why it changed.
Yeah, no, you're stripped us all today.
I
stripped
see
us
that.
all.
Yeah, you're
You
Yeah,
first.
stripped
that's
us
my old
all,
language.
You're
bro.
first and last today, bruh.
It's first last backwards.
Right?
Well, let's get you in here because we got like 9 minutes and
Yeah,
counting.
you got
I
some
think that's
cool
good. I mean, that's an hour and
info?
a half stream, something like
Yeah,
that.
that works. I mean, for
Well,
something
can
that
you?
was randomly put together 5 minutes before I went live, yeah, it ended up great.
Is
I'm
it per
glad.
day? Is it per day?
No,
Or
honey. It's you got to buy it for the year. That's what that whole thing was, and I
I mean
can't.
today? Like you can go for 40 minutes. You disconnect and then reconnect again.
I don't know. Not without probably killing the stream.
The Zoom, you're going like the Zoom is like holding up the stream somehow.
They're gonna
Wow.
kill
The
the Zoom.
free version gives you a
Mhm.
time limit if you have more than I think one guest on.
But listen, by the end of the month, I'm gonna have everything together.
Yeah,
I'll have
yeah,
better
we'll do
than a
this again.
toaster. We'll have another stream. It'll be fine. I'll get the pro. It'll be. This is fine. This is fine.
It's all fine. Okay, well, I will try. I'll try to knock this out as fast as I can.
Okay.
All right, it's a little less paranormal, but something that's just been bugging the hell out of me for a long time, and I feel like people are probably possibly putting themselves in harm's way, not knowing it. They have a false sense of security. But those how some people are selling those hats, those supposed it's kind of have to be funny, these foil hats, but it's a real hat. It's a legit hat, but it's made out of either the
Oh,
Faraday
I know what
cloth.
you're talking about. Yeah, the little
Yeah,
beanies that are supposed to protect you from the electromagnetic radiation.
right. But by 5G. Well, first of all, um, people are they think the higher the frequency, the worse. It's actually the opposite. The higher the frequency, the more shallow,
Right.
the less it can penetrate into the skin.
Right.
And two, those okay. Working with an alarm company, sometimes we had to line up a satellite. We have to line up satellites. Well, okay, that little the little receiver on that sticks out of the satellite dish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that you have to know where to put that. When you do that, you have to do a little bit of math. You have to calculate what's called P. P is the point where whenever when microwaves come in and hit a parabola, a parabolic dish, they'll depending on the depth of the parabola, they'll bounce at a specific angle, and they'll all meet at a specific point, at one point. Well, depending on, it's probably a dirty parabola, and they probably concentrate at multiple points, kind of like when somebody has a astigmatism. People have astigmatism. The light actually projects on 2 points on the retina.
Right.
So people tend to see double lines, double images, whatever. Well, okay, imagine this. You're wearing one of these beanies, and you're looking up, and there's this big old cell tower or whatever, and you're looking up at it. All of a sudden you're pointing a dish at this thing, and then it's potentially concentrating the full power of this stuff right in the middle of your head.
Well, that doesn't sound good at all.
Oh, you're saying it's acting like a beacon or something, another point,
like a parabolic dish,
like an antenna.
Yeah. See, whenever you point a parabolic dish at a source of microwaves, all of those microwaves, they bounce off of the parabolic dish at a specific angle, and then they'll meet at a point, one single point where it's all concentrated. That's where you have to, whenever you're putting your transceiver on the dish, that you have to calculate what P is, depending on the the angle and curvature, the depth and the curvature of your parabola. Well, so whenever you're looking up, it's kind of like you're pointing your dish at the antenna. Or even actually, if it's bouncing off the ground, it's still whatever. You're wearing a parabolic dish, and I mean, and if it's in a frequency range that can penetrate your skull and your skin, you're concentrating it in one single point, potentially in the middle of your head. So you're making the matters worse.
Yeah, that
number one.
Sounds like a horrible plan. Hold on. Thank you, Ohio Kimmy, Jane Q Public, and Stiglitz. Much love, you guys.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds like a horrible plan, Starstream.
And number two, those type of clothing that people sell you that's supposed to block 5G, unless you are completely encapsulated and grounded, it's not going to work. Take that from somebody who's technically trained.
What about the Faraday cages? Do those work?
Right. I need a whole Faraday house.
That's the idea. That's the idea behind those the clothing that's that Faraday cloth. If you're in a Faraday cage, it has to be completely closed. There can be no openings that are
I've heard that.
Size. Well, like it has the opening. You can have openings, but the openings cannot be bigger than the wavelength that you're blocking. Like you can't use like you can use a chicken wire Faraday cage to block 27 megahertz, which is like what CBs use, the trucker CBs. It'll block that all day, but you can't block microwaves with it.
Yeah, it's got to be something. You need something with very little space to block smaller wavelengths.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can actually have openings. You can still breathe. It doesn't have to be a solid metal box, but it has to be smaller than the wavelengths. And when you're blocking microwaves, the wavelength is like micro size. So to effectively block those kind of wavelengths, you have to have basically like a really tight knit cloth. And the most important thing is you have to be grounded for it to be dependable, to be a definite solid block.
Or the fence has to be grounded, or you like the individual needs to be grounded, because aren't we grounded?
The cage has to be for optimum effectiveness. Now, if you can completely seal yourself inside of something, like there can't be any those little pouches you put your cell phone inside of, right? If you do that, you can block let's see, probably anything from 800-900 megahertz on up to there on up, because I don't know. I don't know if they can. I don't know if you can block like the 28 gigahertz or whatever that's supposed to be in some of the 5G systems, but it doesn't really matter because 5G can't penetrate your skin at 28 gigahertz.
I was just thinking in terms of like not bathing in Wi-Fi all the time.
Right. Like I'm not trying. I'm definitely not buying it. Like I'm not trying to focus any waves into my brain at all, period. Like it's bad enough as it is, I think.
Well, I just ordered you a beanie. Should I return it?
Right.
Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz.
Right.
Those two frequencies, if anything's going to penetrate a little bit, it's 2.4 gigahertz, because 2.4 gigahertz is actually the frequency that microwave ovens use to cook turkeys.
Right. So you definitely don't want that, right? Well, listen, guys, we got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. I appreciate you guys joining me today. Kind of fun for something random, I thought. Friday, I'm going to be on with Gino Ravan and Miracle Girly at 8:30 on their stream, since Tyler's at the beach. Maybe I'll jump on like Thursday and I'll have some random conspiracy theory trivia guest.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Right? That's
just as an experiment, see if you can, when you disconnect, see if you can reconnect, not necessarily to do a whole thing, but just to see if you can, if it resets your clock for today.
Well, I mean, it's worth looking into. I got to figure something out for sure. But you guys, much love to you. I do random shit. Just keep an eye out.
I do random shit.
Right? I just do things.
It's the new name of your channel. I do random shit.
Random shit with foil, right?
Random shit.
We don't know. We don't know.
Random to the foil.
Right. All right, you guys. Much love and stay loyal.
Peace out, fam. Good to see everyone out there.
Thanks, guys.
Nice meeting you, Belushi.
Yeah, man. Great to meet you guys. Yep. Great to see you, Bruce. All right.
All right, you guys. Much love.
Ciao.
How do I shut this thing off?
I'm not ending the stream until my toaster catches up and I can give you guys this lotto, just so you know. Hold on. Come on. Here we go. I'm not ending the stream until my toaster catches up and I can give you